Hi students, welcome to the session on pointing theorem. Right, this is the most important theorem and we must understand it very clearly. Let us see what is pointing theorem and its meaning and derivation, right? So pointing theorem tells about the power flowing in an EM field, right? So it talks about power flowing in an electromagnetic field, right? So that is the main purpose of pointing theorem. So let us see the statement of pointing theorem. The pointing theorem states that the net power flowing out of a given volume, that is power flowing out of a given volume, is equal to the time rate of decrease in the energy stored within the volume minus the conduction losses. That means you see the power flowing out of the volume. Suppose let us assume that we have some container with water. So if there is a hole, the water will get released. We can compare with this with the power flowing. So power flowing out of this volume is equal to, see how much water releases is equal to time rate of decrease of water inside the container, right? So here we have some other thing also. So we have to take conduction losses also. That's what simple logic. The net power flowing out of a given volume is equal to the rate of decrease in the energy stored within the volume minus conduction losses, right? So let us prove this, right? Next, otherwise we can state that it is a Pointing theorem states that sum of the power generated by the sources, the imaginary power of the stored electric and magnetic energies, the power leaving and power dissipated in the enclosed volume is equal to 0. What are the sum? The sum of power generated by source, right? Then power of the stored energy and stored electric and magnetic energy, power leaving from the source and power dissipated, right, in the power dissipated in the volume is equal to 0. Fine, let us prove that and confirm this statement. Okay, so how to prove? This is very important question. So the proof is mandatory, right? We know that from Maxwell's equation or Faraday's law, del cross E is equal to minus dou B by dou T. Similarly, we know Ampere Maxwell's law, del cross H is equal to Jc plus dou D by dou T. Let us consider this equation number 1, equation number 2, right? So take H dot del cross E, right? Take dot product with H, so minus H dot dou B by dou T for equation 1. For equation 2, take E dot. So E dot del cross H, that is equal to J dot E or E dot J, both are same only, right? Because dot product is commutative. E dot dou D by dou T. Fine. So this is equation number 3. This is equation number 4, right? Subtract 3 minus 4. That is, subtract 4 from 3. What you get is H dot del cross E minus E dot del cross H is equal to, what I get is del dot E cross H. This is vector identity, right? So A dot del cross B minus B dot, so you can say A dot del cross B minus B dot del cross C is equal to del dot B cross C. That's the formula, right? So we use the same formula. This identity we use. So what happens? This if you subtract 4 from 3, you will get this left hand side. Instead of that left hand side, we write del dot E cross H. That is equal to 3 minus 4. So it is minus J dot E minus B is equal to You substitute for 3, it is B is equal to mu H, so minus H dou B by dou T, right? And E into dou D by dou T. First I subtract 3 minus 4. 3 is minus H minus dou B by dou T. Minus 4 is minus J E minus epsilon dou D by dou T. Fine. So that will be equal to J is equal to sigma E, we know. So sigma E dot E minus H dot dou B by dou T minus E dot dou D by dou T. That's equal to minus sigma E square, fine, minus H dou B by dou T minus E dot dou D by dou T. Okay, so we know the chain rules of vector. So E dot dou D by dou T can be written as D is equal to epsilon E. So epsilon E dot dou E by dou T, right? So epsilon, right? What is that? Epsilon into, I can write 1 by 2 dou by dou T epsilon E, right? So I can write this one as epsilon E dou E by dou T as epsilon into 1 by 2 dou T, dou into dou T into E dot E. So it is E squared. If you differentiate E squared, what will happen? It is 2 into dou E by dou T. So 2 cancel, so epsilon E, same thing will be happening. So instead of this one, I am writing like this, right? So similarly, I can write H dot dou B by dou T as, so what you call H I can write as B is equal to mu H, so mu H dot dou H by dou T. So in the same way I can write it is mu into dou 1 by 2 dou by dou T H vector dot H vector. Fine. So this is, let us assume this is equation number 7. This is equation number 8. Right, already have 6, right? So this is my 6, 4, 5, okay, right? This I write as equation number 4, 5. Okay, so what happens? I got these equations. So now I find subtract 7 and 8 in 6, because what I did, I found E dot dou D by dou T, H dot dou B by dou T. So instead of H dot dou B by dou T, E dot dou D by dou T, I substitute 7 and 8 in 6. So what happens? So from 6 implies del dot E cross H is equal to minus sigma epsilon squared minus mu into 1 by 2 dou by dou T H dot H is H squared minus epsilon by 2 into 1 by 2 dou E squared by dou T. Fine. So this is our mod H. Okay, so we can call this E dot E is mod H. H dot H is mod A. Sorry, H dot H is mod H. E dot E is mod E. So I can write del dot E cross H. E cross H is equal to minus sigma E squared minus dou by dou T. This 1 by 2 I bring inside. 1 by 2 mu inside, mu H square, fine, mu H square vector plus 1 by 2 epsilon E square, right? So this is called point form of Poynting theorem. The simple derivation, right? So simple mathematics, but information we get from this is very important. This form is known as point form of Poynting theorem. Okay, so next we do, now we take integral form, take integration on both sides. So del dot E cross H is the dV, volume integral, power flowing out of the volume. So minus sigma E whole square, fine, V dV minus volume integral dou by dou t mu H square, fine, minus 1 by 2, sorry, 1 by 2 is here. Here also I do that same thing. I take integration of both sides. So 1 by 2 integral dou by dou t. This 1 by 2 should be inside, right? Okay. So 1 by 2 mu H square. Fine. So you see that this is known as integral form of Poynting theorem. Integral form of Poynting theorem. Okay, I write neatly because we have to deal so many things. Okay, this is minus V dou by dou t 1 by 2 mu H square 1 by 2 epsilon mod E square, right? So this is what integral form of Poynting theorem. Fine. Okay, this is dV. Right, now we have to do something, right? What is that? Multiply both sides by minus, so it will become del dot E cross H. See, del dot E cross H dV, I make it as a surface integral, right? Del dot A dV becomes A dot ds, surface integral, closed surface. So I apply divergence theorem, convert volume integral into surface integral. So it will become E cross H ds vector. Everything both side I multiply by minus, so that will become volume integral sigma mod E square dV plus 1 by dou t I bring outside, integral V of mu H square, right, plus 1 dou by dou t volume dV 1 by 2 epsilon E square, right? So this is the thing we have to do. So first what I did, I convert this volume integral into surface integral by using divergence theorem, and I manipulated the equation. Now we see that this is E cross H, right? So E cross H is, as per the Poynting vector, E cross H is a power flowing, right? So this is power flowing. If you have any doubt, please refer my video on Poynting vector. Power flowing, since it is minus E cross H dot ds means it is going out, integral J dot ds current going, D dot ds flux going, but it is minus, so power flowing into, plus means going out, minus means power flowing into the volume enclosed by the surface S, enclosed by this surface S, right? So you see This is sigma E squared. It is power dissipation as a heat, right? Power dissipated as heat. This is telling power dissipated as heat, right? And we see that this one of epsilon E squared, you see, of epsilon E squared is nothing but we know it is energy stored in electric field. So dou by dou t means a rate of change. That's what dou by dou t, rate of change of energy stored in electric field, energy stored in E. Similarly, what is this? Rate of change of energy energy stored in H, because half mu H squared is the energy stored in magnetic field. Okay, so if it is plus, if it is plus integral E cross H dot ds means power flowing out of the region, right? So that is very important. So closed integral E cross H dot ds means power flowing out, right? Power flowing out. See, as per the law of conservation of energy, what should happen? As per law of conservation of energy, right? We must know the rate of energy dissipation. Yes or no? The rate of energy dissipation in the volume, right, must be equal to stored energy in the volume. Sorry, it must be equal to rate of decrease of stored energy in the volume, right, plus rate at which energy is entering, rate at which energy is entering. Yes or no? You see that what I am telling is, you see, suppose we have some pot with water, right? Suppose let us assume some amount of water goes out. The same logic I told, right? Some amount of water goes out means the same amount of water is lost. Yes or no? It is for something going out, something going in. But law of conservation of energy says that you cannot create energy nor destroy energy. So what is the thing? If the energy goes out means there must be something coming inside. That's what net flow. So whatever comes in goes out. So that's what you see, the rate of energy dissipation. How much energy is dissipated is equal to how much energy anyone can dissipate. Already the energy I have plus the energy I got from somewhere else. The same logic, right? So that's what energy conservation states, right? So it's a simple logic, right? So you compare with yourself. The rate of energy I can spend to do any work is equal to the energy I have plus the energy I get from some other source. That's what this one. So the rate of energy dissipation in the volume is equal to rate of decrease in the stored energy to do this work plus rate at which energy is entering. You see here, right? So if I write this equation in different form, let me keep this equation, this energy loss, right? That's what energy power dissipated, right? J is equal to sigma E squared, that is power dissipated. So I write this equation in a different way. This I keep this side, yes, and bring these two fellows left hand side. So I write the equation in a different way. What I am writing is, so J dot E dot J, right, E dot J dV, that is nothing but epsilon E squared, right, is equal to what is happening. Already have E cross H dot ds. That fellow right hand side I have this fellows, these two persons, plus I bring these two fellows left hand side. So if I bring those two fellows left hand side, what will happen? it will become minus dou by dou t. This is surface integral, volume integral. This is volume integral. What will happen? 1 by 2 mu h square plus 1 by 2 epsilon e square. Yes or no? So now you see it is E dot J. Fine. So what is this one? This is power dissipated in the volume. Power dissipated in the volume. Power lost. Why? E is volt per meter, J is ampere per meter square. That means watt per meter cube. That's what E dot J. So it is power dissipated in the volume. You understand why J epsilon epsilon E squared is called power dissipation? Because of this one, watt per meter cube. So power dissipated in the volume. You see what is this person? E cross H dot ds. That is more, we know, power flow. Power rate of energy energy, right, entering from outside or entering into the volume. Yes or no? Minus energy entering or power entering, right? Minus, what about this person? It is what? Energy stored in the magnetic field. This is the energy stored in the electric field. Minus indicates reduction. So rate of reduction, right, of energy stored in E field and H field. Rate of reduction is given by minus dou by dou t. Right, here we are having minus. So minus dou by dou t indicates rate of change of rate of reduction. It is energy stored in electric field, energy stored in magnetic field. You see how much power can be dissipated? The power dissipation is equal to rate of energy entering from outside plus rate of reduction of energy stored in the E and H. That's what I told in the Poynting theorem during the introduction. So that is perfectly mapped, right? So how much work you can do, right? The energy spent to do some work is equal to the energy to do the work plus the energy you get it from somewhere else. Okay, so that's what Poynting theorem states, right? So I hope you understand everything very clearly. If you have any doubt, please ask me in comment section. I will clarify all your doubt, right? Thank you.